And now you see Ukraine just kept poking the bear and poking the bear, which is Russia. And Russia invaded. And the truth is, and this is the hard truth to accept, there is no win for Ukraine here. Russia is being very successful in their invasion, even though we hear different things on television. The things that we see and we know that are actually happening there I don't see a way out for Ukraine.
Okay, so Marjorie Greene is continuing her Ukraine can't win. They can't defend their country. They shouldn't try, and we certainly shouldn't help them. That campaign continues right there. Despite all of the news she acknowledges showing that Russia is having a lot of difficulties, she secretly has sources inside of Ukraine or Russia that are proving that things are going much better, I guess. And what I want to talk about in this block is this outright like opposition to what Ukraine is trying to do? Is that helpful to the GOP? Bearing in mind that they're already being attacked over this in ads like this one from Midas Touch.
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
Ukraine just kept poking the bear and poking the bear. There is no win for Ukraine here. Russia is being very successful in their invasion.
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
Can we give a round of applause for Russia?
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
Remember that Zelensky is a thug. Remember that the Ukrainian government is incredibly corrupt and it is incredibly evil.
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
This is genius. Putin declares a big portion of Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. How smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper.
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
President Biden was heckled by outspoken Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert as he was talking about Army veterans who died from cancer.
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
There are new questions concerning the federal investigation into Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz and if he violated federal sex trafficking laws.
We're not the fringe. We are the base of the party.
We're now hearing reports from around the country that if your paper sailboat goes down the street and into a drain, don't try to get it back because you'll hear, "We're not the fringe, we're the base of the party," echoing from the sewer depths. But Brett, I want to jump into it. They are like, there's a growing number of what is being referred to as the Putin wing of the party that it seems more aggrieved with Ukraine than with Russia in this situation where one has invaded the other. Who's to say which is which? Does this matter? Will this hurt them? Is this a good strategy to take as we roll towards these midterm elections?
Will this hurt them is a question whose answer is dependent on consistency of messaging and effectiveness of messaging. By the way, good It reference. I've got some balloons for the kids in the back if you want.
Yeah, they all float at Brett's house.
Terrifying, but that's an effective ad, and I love the concept. I love thinking about like the edit chamber as they were doing that. As people are like, all right, I got most of this worked out, but where do I put the Matt Gaetz pedophilia stuff? Like, is it early? Is this too early? Should I move it later so we can get there? Because it's true. All of these dregs, as much as they say radical left, radical is not radical enough a term for how huge a psychopath Marjorie Taylor Greene is, and how stupid a huge psychopath Matt Gaetz and Madison Cawthorn are. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, who goes and hangs out with Nick Fuentes and speaks at his events, and afterwards suffers no repercussions. And that's the key, is to tie, if it is the case that they're the base, Marjorie Taylor Greene to the leadership of the party, and hold their feet to the fire for how they handle that. And it's the challenge of progressives to differentiate the right-wing populist movement from the left-wing populist movement, because the right-wing populist movement loves itself some authoritarian Putinism.
Yeah.
Is woke as hell. They call their events like the Reawaken America tour. They are woke in the event that they, are happy. They want to wake you up in the middle of the night and lock you up if you're gay.
Yeah. If democracy is sleep, they're woke, buddy. They've awakened from it. And by the way, like we're trying to break down the potential consequences for this sort of narrative that they're pushing, and not just them. We're focusing on the elected officials, but bear in mind there's a massive media arm to this as well. People like Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and others, especially Tucker Carlson. And that is not to say though that you have to support any of this. You can and should point out corruption wherever it is, including in countries that might be being assaulted. You don't necessarily have to think that we should be helping Ukraine. I think it's weird to believe that we shouldn't, but to support all of these other wars, that's a weird stance. I think it's weird to say that we shouldn't, as you're literally invested in the companies that are benefiting from it. Like, I don't understand the stance. You're cosplaying as if you're anti-war, but it isn't consistent across anything else that you say and do. But again, you're not obligated to do any of this, but the way they're communicating about it seems tailor-made to PO as many Americans as possible. And bear in mind, like when she says, it's going great for Russia, I think that that's insane, as we'll get into, but they are doing a lot of damage. Zelensky announced that there's 100,000 civilians in Mariupol, which has been being besieged for a couple of weeks now, that have effectively no food, no water, and are constantly being bombed. There could be massive amounts of death in Mariupol. So all of that is true, but they're going about it so weird in communicating about their thoughts of this war.
They're so stupid. They don't understand how complicated this is. And worse, they don't understand that everybody understands how complicated it is. Everybody understands that there's like American imperialistic instincts that have been really bad and really misguided and rise the level of war crimes in other countries. I get it, but we need to focus on this specific thing. And more importantly, the Marjorie Taylor Greene wing of the Republican Party, which according to her represents the entirety of the Republican Party, every decision they have is incredibly weak and ruins America's standing in the pecking order of the world, right? Because either they basically don't want us to do anything. They want us to allow Russia to prove it's strong and just take over Ukraine. Now, I hate that has like war hockey implications, but that's the truth. Like, and it emboldens China to keep doing what it's doing if you don't fight back in some way against it. What's their alternative? Their alternative is to just lay down and not even put in sanctions against Russian oligarchs. If you can't do that, what do you want us to do? Nothing. She doesn't have a plan. She doesn't have any suggestions. As Noam Chomsky outlined, like the right wing has just become a barrier to, it's not a party with any ideology, it's just a barrier to democracy.
Exactly, yeah, they're opposed to even the diplomatic efforts. And look, you get to be opposed to things. We're opposed to direct military involvement, obviously. But she's opposed to everything and highly critical of it, by the way, without putting forward any plan of her own. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.